Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Open Network User Group Podcast. I'm Mark Tierney, the CTO at ONUG. And today, with the help of an industry expert, we're going to deconstruct digital experience management. What is it, why it's so important for your business, and how to do it right. But first, join us at the ONUG Enterprise Cloud Community at ONUG Spring 2022. Find solutions, use cases, proof of concepts, live demonstrations, and new technologies for designing, building, managing, and securing the next generation of enterprise cloud solutions. What we're saying now is, I know it works because I saw it at ONUG. Go to onug.net to register for this event today. All right. How do you know remote workers having a good performance, a good experience using the applications that they need to get their job done? One thing I say a lot is, the experience for employees now is every bit as important, or it feels like it's every bit as important as it is for your customers, for your end customers. And here to help me talk about this is Janavi Reddy. She is a senior product manager at Palo Alto Networks. Janavi, how you doing?
Hi, Mark. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great. One of the things that I've said for an awfully long time now is the consumerization of all tech kind of makes the employee experience different than it was, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, even 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Employees, we sort of just didn't expect maybe the same level of experience that we demanded for our customers, but that's changed. And this changed for a lot of reasons, right? I mean,
Yeah.
employee retention's a big deal. Like we want to make sure our employees are valued and taken care of and efficient and stuff like that. But one of the things I'd hope you do for us right off the bat is just, maybe help us all understand what digital experience management is all about. Can you kind of frame it for us a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to pick on what you said, Mark. Right now, it's more than important for us to give employees a great experience at all their digital touch points, right? So digital experience is really a broad term. It basically spans like a range of people's experiences with respect to an organization's communication, products and processes. This is literally at every digital touch point. So for instance, we're all working from home. We now use a myriad of tools that are at our disposal. We use Zoom like about 80% of time, Google Docs, and all the SaaS applications that now all our workloads sit in. So we want to kind of make sure that our experience there is flawless. At least organizations want to make sure that those experiences are flawless and they're not issues, because when you're working from home and IT has no visibility into your service delivery chain, it becomes very hard for them to troubleshoot, and you're wasting a lot of your hours just trying to understand what happened.
I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit because it's part of what I do. It's part of my charm, Janavi, is to put people on the spot. Are there aspects of the digital experience for employees that you're finding are, I don't know, maybe more important than others? I mean, you mentioned Zoom, for example. I mean, the Zoom interactive experience or video interactive experience, collaboration obviously is a big deal. Both of those things together.
Yeah.
But I mean, are there specific use cases that you feel like have or seen, observed that bubble up to the top that are most important for companies, or does it depend?
Absolutely. I think for right now, I can, make a generic statement and say that of all the customers we're seeing, we're noticing that UCaaS applications, which is our, Zoom and Microsoft Teams and WebEx and what have you, all our video conferencing applications, they've just sprung up to the top. That's where all our, all the IT teams they're constantly monitoring. That's where you need high availability, high performance. We want like low jitter. Nobody wants to get stuck in a choppy audio video, situation. So I think we're seeing that at the top, followed by some of these SaaS applications, right, where you do your daily businesses, where your sales is at, or where your service is at. So followed by the UCaaS vendors are kind of followed by that. So that's the trend that we've been noticing.
And this still feels like a relatively new segment of tech that enterprises are tackling, and again, particularly for employees specifically. Where are the big gaps that you're seeing right now in the technology that's deployed today? I mean, right off the bat, I feel like there's a lot of companies that they're not even doing this. They're not
Yeah.
even putting the right level of focus on it. But for the ones that are, what do you feel like are the biggest gaps that they're experiencing? Because it's an awfully big delivery chain to tackle.
Mhm. Mhm. I think let's look at some of where the blind spots right now. The ADEM, what ADEM does for companies is just help them give visibility into these blind spots. So when you're working out of a hybrid environment, your user is a remote user, or they could be in a branch network too. They heavily rely on internet. And with distributed offices like never before, every home is a corporate office now. So what has this done? This has redefined network ownership boundary, and IT is right now kind of losing visibility across the entire service delivery chain. It could be between users and applications, and in POPs like the user devices, the wireless connections at their home, ISP, and application itself. So let's kind of look at the endpoint, right? Like the
All right,
first
before you do that, I'm gonna stop you because you threw out an acronym. You said ADEM, and the audience doesn't necessarily know what that is. So why don't you tell us what that is?
All right, so ADEM is what I'm basically here to talk about. ADEM is an autonomous digital experience monitoring solution. That is a solution that helps you monitor your digital experiences across all your users in your organization. And eventually, it comes down to providing in depth insights into all the device endpoints, all the hops in your service delivery chain, so you can basically detect, isolate, and diagnose issues quickly and ensure that you're remediating these issues without wasting too many hours on the solution itself, without being caught blindsided.
Right. Okay, good. Thanks for clearing that up. And I honestly, when we get to the end of this, I'm going to want to understand a little bit of detail around how ADEM, or autonomous digital experience management, fits into the overall Palo Alto construct, if that's possible. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about the service chain and just where those gaps are. That's the path we were heading down, is try to understand that service chain and gaps there.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's start with the simple ones first. The endpoint. So the first is you want visibility into the endpoint device itself. Now we've all experienced poor Zoom quality, we've experienced unresponsive web pages, and this could be because of a myriad of reasons. But we, for one, understand that out of all of them, memory or CPU utilization on the computer kind of has a pretty big impact on them. And this usually is because we have too many browser tabs open, or just too many apps running in the background consuming resources. And we've all been victims as well as perpetrators of this, where we have like a million browsers open, and we just like don't necessarily know the impact that it has on application performance.
That's how my brain works. I get it. Too
Yeah,
many
that's
tabs open.
yeah, that's how all of us get through our day, I think. But at some point, you got to stop and take a peek into, hey, how is this app? How is this negatively impacting my application performance? So, ADEM provides a way for you to look into that. To look into, okay, your CPU utilization is really high, your memory utilization is really high. Maybe this is what's impacting your user experience score, and that's what you need to take a look into. So, that's one part of the visibility we provide. Then the As we move on, then Wi-Fi becomes an important part of your service delivery chain. Now, users connect from home. They usually have to contend with a myriad of other things, right? Like streaming and gaming applications. Right now, we're sitting with families at home, especially when during the height of the pandemic, we had kids streaming and gaming and doing all kinds of things. Definitely not their online classes, but everything else that kind of took up all our, Wi-Fi resources. And there's a lot of times when users have poor Wi-Fi signal strength because they're working from their backyard or garage or far away from where the access point is located. Now, this problem becomes even harder when you are in a public hotspot like a coffee shop, and at that point, Wi-Fi interference can have really poor performance, right? So that's another blind spot. Now, moving on, there's the LAN and the ISP section. Now, in addition to Wi-Fi and endpoints, there's all this network latency with the home local area network or with the ISP modem itself. This could be caused by either user having an old router or one that is connecting to more devices. Like we're all working out of a home environment right now, where our Wi-Fi now, services, home security systems, other appliances, a few more than it can reasonably handle. Now, typically, the ISP path from home to apps has multiple routed hops, and then each of this routed hop quickly introduces some sort of a latency. As the congestion adds up, the latency at each hop increases and in turn affects app experience altogether again. Now, this ISP is something that IT organizations have zero control. Now, imagine these users call into IT to help resolve an app experience problem. IT has does not really have the right monitoring tools to help users resolve these problems. And so that could really be a nightmarish situation for them. And whether the user is working from home, in coffee shop, or they're back in the office a couple of days a week, they're now almost always going to use some shared network application services that the IT has no way of monitoring. Um, so, to address these blind spots and visibility gaps we talked about, there is the digital experience monitoring. This is where that comes in, right? Like the DEM is a monitoring discipline. It's already recognized by Gartner, and it focuses on monitoring on an outcome of a user experience. So that's how are your applications delivered to your users. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about when it comes to.
So with all these points along the way, I'll put on an old school hat that it doesn't require an agent of some type living on, one or more devices. Like how are you testing and sampling? How does that work?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's what differentiates the ADM solution that we currently offer versus the ones that you encounter outside of our offerings. So while designing our solution, we wanted to keep three things in mind. We wanted to, or two things. We wanted to provide exceptional user experience, but we also wanted to do that with operational simplicity. Now, the three main areas that really set us apart is that it is SASE native. So, like you mentioned, Mark, there is no requirement of any additional client or agent. So, ADEM is tightly integrated for both our mobile users and branch office solutions with the Prisma Access solution, which is the underlying solution that ADEM is built on top of. So, you don't need a special agent for users. It's integrated with your Global Protect client. This saves a lot of operational overhead for the IT team because there is no need to manage any additional endpoints on user devices. So this kind of a native integration also allows you to get full visibility on the secure tunnel from endpoints to Prisma access. Now the other vendors will not have this and allow us to build, the underlay and the overlay visibility. So similarly, with respect to branch, we have native integration of ADEM into the Prisma SD-WAN. This also lets you get full visibility into the devices in the branch and all the paths that connect the branch to your various applications. Without this native integration, it would kind of be impossible to proactively monitor all your paths.
Okay, now I'm going to stop you, Janavi, because you did mention ADEM and it sounded like there's some integration here with another Palo Alto network product. Tell me, so I think that's true. So tell me about this Prisma. Is it Prisma SASE? Prisma SASE? Is that how you say it?
Yeah, that's how you say it. And Prisma, so ADEM is basically an add-on to the Prisma SASE portfolio. And Prisma SASE comprises of Prisma Access and SD-WAN. And Prisma Access, is basic, then has our cloud delivered security solution that includes like the Global Protect where ADEM is integrated, and SD-WAN is, typically solves our security posture problems for the branch offices and all of that, and ADEM is also integrated into that. So across the SASE portfolio, wherever you work from, ADEM is natively integrated into all the solutions that form the SASE portfolio, both Prisma Access and SD-WAN.
Then it's sort of empowering, enabling the IT team. Are there solution sets, application types that ADEM can monitor? Are there limits? If it's a private app or some published SaaS app, or like, is there tell me about the kind of scope of the type of applications that ADEM can monitor.
So today, ADEM can monitor all your private as well as your SaaS applications. So the way this is kind of configured is that we already detect the applications that are running in your network. And when the user or the IT team is setting this up, it's already all built in for you. So when you look at that drop down, you get a list of all the applications that we've identified in your network. So it comes with a combination of the private applications you're using as well as the SaaS applications we've identified. So they can very easily kind of pick that up and add a monitoring test for that. And as soon as they do that, we start then like collecting metrics for those application tests.
Okay, so that implies to me that the tool utilities in a position to do some things proactively. Tell me about, is that, first of all, is that true? Uh, can the ADEM solution proactively find problems, and then what's the next step? What does it enable you to do? From
Yeah.
the yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's very real time in nature, right? Like we're always constantly running tests. It could be the synthetic test, the real user analytics that we constantly run. So it all happens in real time, and we do a continuous baseline of application experience from users, from branches, from the cloud native, like the Prisma Access cloud infrastructure that all the traffic is then directed to, and proactively tell the admin that, hey, this is where the user is noticing issues. Like for instance, if the user is maybe sitting in Singapore, but they're connected to Prisma Access US POP, that's adding a ton of latency. Now that's something that the admin can proactively look into in the portal. Now, this visibility from these multiple vantage points, now this is correlated with the synthetic and the real user traffic together. And all of this is provided in one comprehensive dashboard with like a 360-degree view of your app performance. So IT has the visibility in the entire service delivery chain between users and applications, irrespective of where the network ownership boundary is.
Okay, thanks, Chanavi. So one question I have is on organizations. What organizations within enterprise IT are most interested in using the ADEM product?
So I'd say, mostly it's going to be your, networking group, your network manager and administrator, and along with your, IT help desk personnel. Because sometimes, a lot of times, what happens is your network manager, they go and detect these issues, but they also notify IT help desk, who then, decide what needs to be done. So, and sometimes the security team can step in as well. So it's kind of spread between the network team, the IT team, and the security team when they see fit.
Okay, so the other thing that always comes to my mind, again, as a longtime ops person, is time to value, right?
Mhm.
Somebody from an organization comes in and sells me this product, and it's going to solve all these issues, and it's all great, but you know what? It's going to take a year to stand it up and get any real value at it. So um tell me why that's not the case here. Like, tell me why this solution like could be stood up in a relatively reasonable amount of time and start bringing value to an organization that's subscribed to it.
Yeah, and that's I think you hit the nail on the head, because that's one of our key value propositions. The time to value, right? Right. So the time to stand this up is really, really quick. And why is that? Because it is our SASE native application. It's already well integrated into our SD-WAN solution, into our Global Protect solution. So all you need is a couple of actions by the ID team, which is kind of enable this and turn this on in the Global Protect management solution, as well as turn this on for the users. We have the option to not turn it on for the entire organization at once, but roll it out slowly. And you then pick the apps you want to monitor, and then bam, you have your ADEM portal ready, filled in with all the metrics to give you all the visibility you want. So it you can see a meaningful difference right away. Where in ADEM, definitely with the setup that you have done, it brings down the mean time to resolve any user and app experience issues.
Are you feeling like there's an evolving best practice around the deployment of these solutions, yours or anyone else's for that matter? Like,
Yeah.
pick one app and go after this, or is it the total employee experience, or is it again is it something you leg into a little a piece at a time, or just go for all of it all at once?
Yeah, I think what we're noticing is that some of our large organizations are enabling this in a slow rollout manner, just so it gives them time to kind of digest these metrics, make sense out of them, and then they themselves can understand, how to act on these insights. So typically, the best practices we've seen is that they don't turn it on for 100% of their workforce right away. They take probably like a month or 2 months to slowly roll it out and each of that section they roll it out to is also like a high number, maybe 10,000 employees at once. And then they almost always look at SaaS applications, they monitor that, and private applications. So they at least start with about 5 or 6 applications and slowly roll this application performance tests across all their users. And with that, they're slowly building the portal to consume more and more metrics to consume, and also they themselves, because all of these remediation and troubleshooting steps, that's such in-house knowledge with a lot of our customers. Then they kind of develop a playbook on to say, hey, this is what I'm seeing on ADEM portal, and this is how I need to react to them. So that's kind of the adoption track that we've been seeing with customers.
So let me play that back a little bit. What I heard you say was the first, and I'm generalizing here, but of course,
Mhm.
but it sounded like roll it out across the employee base in increments, and then add applications incrementally to get to the full potential. So are there specific personas that you're seeing your clients want to go after first? Is it is it a customer service client? Is it an IT persona rather? Are there are you seeing any trends in terms of uh, you know who what personas want enterprises want to be tracking first, or is it all over the board?
I think there's certainly, what's surprising is that I haven't seen a pattern emerge out of this. What I did notice that is that, for a lot of time, the monitoring also sometimes, is just for a short period of time. So let's say one of their executives is traveling, right? And they want their applications monitored like 24 hours. So they put them on hotspot. They literally make them their performance management like high up, and that's what they're constantly monitoring for. So typically, what I've seen is when users call in with complaints and they're not being monitored, they quickly add them up, or the organizations are noticing that some locations are problem locations. They tend to roll this out or focus on just folks that reside in that location, or some groups like the executive groups, or engineers, or whichever the user groups that they belong to. And they're kind of, they need their systems up and running all the time. We're seeing them roll out to these kind of specific set of groups.
I'm going to make a prediction. Yeah, obviously, we're still in what we hope is the pandemic era, and but hopefully that's starting to wane. We can hope and pray, but my suspicion is that if these remote sales workforce gets back into gear, my personal experience was salespeople visiting me, like, always wanted to be able to, live demonstrate their products and solutions in front of the customers. And boy, if things
Mhm.
didn't work well, they weren't happy. And I wonder if that'll be a persona that bubbles up quickly. And I don't know. Let's hope it does. Let's hope remote sales forces are a thing again. I think that would be great. All right, and then one thing I should have stopped you earlier and dug into it more, but tell me a little bit about the visualization of the output here.
Mhm.
Is it a dashboard reporting? Like what's the best way to consume this digital experience management output?
Yeah, so that's a great point, and I think we should have certainly led with that. The metrics that we collect from every hop, which it could be your endpoint metrics, that is your device metrics, Wi-Fi, LAN, ISP, all the cloud infrastructure metrics and application metrics. All of these metrics, we're basically putting them in a comprehensive dashboard. So typically, the dashboard is laid out in a way where you get to see what your organization experience score is. What is your organization experience score? It's basically like a metric. It's basically a metric that gives you an idea if if a large majority of your organization is, having any issues. It could be like the kind of variations you could look into is if your experience score is fair or poor or bad, and this is an aggregation of experience across all the users you're monitoring for in your organization. So that's the highest aggregate. I would say that's the highest, and from there you can look into the user experience score for each individual user, what your experience score is for a location, what your experience score is for a specific application. So these are the different levels of granularity of experience scores that are calculated. So typically, your analysis can be very top down, where you're looking at organization and you notice that organization experience seems good, but you have 6 or 7 of your users that are in the poor category, so they definitely have issues going on. And from there you can then drill into those list of users and typically pinpoint where their issues are they noticing issues with their Wi-Fi, and all of that is laid out in a topological view for you, and with conditional formatting, which means your Wi-Fi signal will show you red. That means this user definitely has issues there, where they're noticing low signal quality, or some other form of some other issues going on there, or their ISP or LAN or their device metrics. So it's kind of organized in a very top-down fashion, where you're able to consume the high-level aggregate metrics as well as deep dive to understand what the issues are for any user and take insights. The whole idea is to provide actionable insights. So that's what.
Okay, so you've mentioned digital experience scoring. I'm fascinated by this topic, and I think metrics are such a important part of any enterprise IT organization. Certainly, the people in the side of network management are going to be interested in these scoring opportunities. I have to believe this is going to be important for the C level, the C suite as well. Is that true? Is that fair?
No, yeah, that's absolutely fair. And the way we score in such a top-down level, where we score the organization experience as a whole, location and users and application, the C-level suite, they're always looking for the organization experience score to kind of get a pulse of where the user experiences lie. Is it a fair value? Is it a poor value? Where do they need to invest in? Are they seeing patterns of app degradation that might have a single root cause that they might need to invest in? So this is something that we're finding is of interest to a lot of the executive levels of folks as well.
That makes a lot of sense. Janavi, this has been very helpful. I've learned a lot about digital experience monitoring, as it turns out, a lot about the autonomous digital experience management solution that Palo Alto has. So, how can people find out more about ADEM?
Yeah, so go to paloaltonetworks.com /SASE/ADEM to find more about it. And you have all the content at your disposal. You can go into what the product is, some of the technical aspects, what are the key use cases we we tend to solve. So all that kind of stuff, it's all out there for you to look into.
Well, thank you so much for being here with us today. Really appreciate it. Again, I learned a lot. Don't forget to join the ONUG Enterprise Cloud community at ONUG Spring 2022. Find solutions, use cases, proof of concepts, live demos, and new technologies for designing, building, managing, and securing the next generation of enterprise cloud solutions. Go to onug.net to register for this event today. Thanks again, everybody, and we'll see you next week on the ONUG podcast.